You're fired, just a useless middle school graduate. Oliver, the new department manager, assumed I only graduated from middle school and looked down on me because of it. Even when I said something completely reasonable, he would shoot it down like my opinion was never worth listening to. You're incompetent and at the bottom of the ladder. You're fired. Thank you for everything. I was fed up with Oliver and with my coworkers who showed no sign of standing up for me, so I decided to leave the company. Then I told my parents everything without hiding a thing. I am truly sorry. The next month, a letter from my parents arrived addressed to Oliver, and he turned completely pale. My name is Ryan, and I'm 24 years old. I grew up as the youngest of 3 siblings in a family of 5. My older brother David is responsible and takes everything seriously. My older sister Emily is gentle and graceful, the perfect traditional woman. Ryan, want to play together? Yeah. Then let's have some snacks with me. We got along really well, and the two of them always spent time with me. I looked up to them and loved them dearly. You kids are really close. It's true, you're always together. My parents had a strong relationship too, and everyone saw us as a loving family. In that kind of family, I was the child my parents had later in life. Being the youngest with a bit of an age gap from my older siblings, I knew I was the one everyone doted on. Ryan is so bright. With a mind like his, we don't have to worry about his future. Exactly. And he's grown into such a handsome young man. Come on, you two, stop it. Honestly, it was a little embarrassing. Still, I loved my family just as much, so I accepted their affection with a smile. Ryan, what do you want for your birthday? The newest world map. You really love maps, don't you? I've always loved looking at world maps. I'd study different countries and take imaginary trips in my mind. In Japan, I imagined a journey around the country visiting famous tourist spots, or a laid-back trip to hidden local gems. For Europe, I imagined exploring World Heritage sites in Belgium and Croatia. I even thought about going on food tours in Taiwan, trying delicious dishes along the way. Whenever I shared those imagined travels with my parents and siblings, they always praised me. Their encouragement made my fantasy travels even more exciting. Someday, we want to go on a trip abroad with Ryan as our guide. They always said that. Eventually, that became my dream too. Now, I've started working at a travel agency. Here's the plan I personally recommend. Wow, this one looks amazing. I felt like this job, introducing travel plans to customers using the knowledge I had built since childhood, was my true calling. The moments when customers lit up with excitement over a plan I made were the happiest for me. One day, my kind and supportive boss, Thomas, was transferred to another branch. He had taught me everything when I was new, and even took me out to eat whenever I succeeded, even in small ways. I'm Oliver. I'll be the new department manager starting today. I graduated from a well-known private university, so I expect you to follow what I say. And just like that, Oliver became my new boss. Oliver was what you would call an academic elitist, constantly bragging about having graduated from a prestigious private university. He brought up the name of that university so persistently that everyone in the office made annoyed faces behind his back, careful not to let him notice. Hey Ryan, what university did you go to? Oliver asked me the same way he had asked others. I didn't attend a university in Japan. When I answered that, he gave me a puzzled look. Then what high school did you go to? I didn't attend high school either. He kept pressing, and though it made me uncomfortable, I answered honestly because he was still my boss after all. Oliver then gave me a condescending smile. So, you're a middle school graduate. How did someone like you get into this company? Did you use some weird connection or something? His exaggerated tone and clear mockery made me feel completely disgusted. Sure, I believe educational background matters when applying for a job, but once you start working, it shouldn't define your value. That's why I was fed up with his constant prying. I suppose you could call it a connection. That was all I said before picking up a call that came in. Work took priority over indulging Oliver's academic ego. I see. That explains it. I saw him grinning smugly as he said that, but I was too busy handling the call to care. Hey, middle school graduate. From that point on, Oliver started calling me that. And it didn't stop there. You can't handle this kind of work, can you? Can you even read this? Do you understand English? He kept mocking me like that. Honestly, it was annoying, but I tried not to let it get to me and just focused on my job. However, his constant comments about me being a useless middle school graduate started interfering with my work, and I was gradually losing patience. On top of that, Oliver began telling my clients things like, "This guy's just a useless middle school graduate," and reassigning them to someone else. It got to a point where I couldn't even do my job properly. What should I do about this? I was stuck in that thought when it happened. Oliver, I have to say, your treatment of Ryan seems completely inappropriate. What? Ryan has always done his job properly. There's no reason to change his assignments or go around calling him a middle school graduate. My coworker Michelle, unable to stand by and watch any longer, finally spoke up. You're just a subordinate. Do you think you can talk back to me? From that moment, Oliver began harassing Michelle as well. A woman speaking out against a man? Is that your way of trying to get attention? With that face and figure, no one's going to see you as a real woman anyway. What did you just say? How can you say something like that? He began hurling vulgar comments and making fun of her appearance and body. I was furious, but Michelle stopped me, so I had no choice but to stay silent. Wow, that's horrible. If we get involved with those two, we'll end up getting treated the same way. Seeing all this, the other coworkers began keeping their distance from both of us. They spoke only when necessary and stopped engaging with us otherwise. Because of Oliver, Michelle and I became isolated at work. I'm really sorry, Michelle. This is all because of me. Don't be. I acted on my own because I believed it was the right thing to do. We supported each other and kept doing our job. Oliver was a terrible person, and the workplace atmosphere had become toxic. But even so, I began to notice what made Michelle special. The way she faced clients with sincerity and seriousness was something I felt I needed to learn from. Her presence was what kept me going. Sometime later, Michelle was assisting an older married couple. Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt. Oliver? Oliver suddenly barged in. I had a bad feeling and wanted to step in to help Michelle, but I was tied up with another client and couldn't move. I was concerned about her performance, so I came to check on things. Are you having any trouble? If so, we can assign someone else. Oliver said that right in front of Michelle's clients. It was the same tactic he used on me, and just watching it made my blood boil. Still, I kept my emotions in check and observed without offending my client. Meanwhile, the elderly couple remained calm and composed. Michelle's service has always been courteous. The last trip she helped us plan was excellent. Yes, we're not having any trouble at all. But Oliver clearly didn't like that answer. Still, isn't this itinerary a bit too demanding for an elderly couple? I would never recommend something like this. He dismissed Michelle's plan outright. Calling them elderly was just unnecessary meddling. No, not at all. This was the course we requested. Michelle has been very thoughtful in putting this together. Even so, Oliver was clearly determined to find fault with it. He kept using phrases like elderly, and if it were me, trying to discredit Michelle's plan. Stop treating us like we're some helpless old folks. Eventually, the husband lost his temper and shouted at Oliver. My sincerest apologies. We're never doing business here again. Michelle immediately apologized, but the couple left with those words. No need to waste time on customers like that. They were angry because you were disrespectful to them. Shut up. Get back to work. You're the one who interrupted her work in the first place. I held my tongue and decided to check on Michelle later. What? That couple was the president and his wife from that company. Later on, we found out that the couple was the president of a major company and his wife. Since they said they wouldn't come back, it meant we had lost a very important client. This is your fault, Michelle. We lost them because you didn't handle them properly. At first, Oliver was pale with panic over his mistake, but he quickly started blaming Michelle. That's completely unfair. The couple were still interested until you barged in. It was your repeated remarks about their age that upset them. Even Michelle couldn't stay quiet in the face of such unfairness. And she was absolutely right. But then he sneered. What an arrogant attitude. With that unfeminine face of yours, you'll never get a boyfriend anyway. Ha! Oliver started mocking things completely unrelated to work. I couldn't stay silent any longer. Oliver, that has nothing to do with the job, and it's completely unacceptable to insult Michelle's dignity. I stepped in between them to defend her. Oliver glared at me in surprise, but I stared him down without backing off. What you're saying has nothing to do with the task at hand. On top of that, your comments are a clear violation of our compliance policies. What did you just say? This whole situation started because you interfered with Michelle's work. She is not to blame for the couple leaving angry. Frankly, Oliver, this is your fault. You little. Seeing it as a good opportunity, I spoke my mind honestly. Oliver flew into a rage. How dare you talk back to me? You're just a useless middle school graduate. Now he started insulting me too. Then he gave a smug grin. You're fired. A useless middle school graduate gets fired. He pointed at me as he declared it. But unlike him, I stayed calm. As far as I know, a department manager doesn't have the authority to fire an employee. I'll submit your resignation myself. And you think HR will just process that? The head of HR is a friend of mine. He'll do whatever I say. No matter how many facts I stated, he kept insisting he could fire me. I glanced around, and the other coworkers had their heads down, trying not to get involved. That's why you're fired. You're a useless nobody. Understood. Thank you for everything. I had enough of Oliver, who looked down on me, and of the coworkers who didn't lift a finger to help. I said it coldly and decided to leave the company. Ryan. Michelle, if you can, take some time off. Maybe until next month. The one thing I was worried about was Michelle. But at that moment, there was nothing I could do for her. So I left the company. Ryan, what are you doing here so late? Did something happen? I wanted to talk to you about something. I called my brother as soon as I left the office. I had actually told him before that I was struggling to get along with my boss. In that case, why don't you come work for our company? He invited me without hesitation. The truth is, my family runs a major hotel chain. It's a well-known luxury resort company in Japan, famous for being fully booked most of the time. That hotel empire is my family's business. Sorry about this, David. Don't be. Honestly, I was hoping you'd join us sooner. Both my brother and sister work for our father's company. I had chosen to work at a travel agency because I wanted to gain experience on my own, without relying on my family. I really did enjoy working at the travel agency though. But in the end, I transferred to my father's company. Our resort hotels are located in 5 places across Japan, plus 1 in Hawaii. All of them are extremely popular and notoriously hard to book. Thankfully, we're always at full capacity, and a 6-month wait is standard. However, thanks to my connection, my old workplace, the travel agency was given priority booking access. So tell me again, why did you quit? What did that boss do to you? Well, I told him everything Oliver had done and what the atmosphere at the company had been like. Unbelievable. That kind of person exists? To treat Ryan like that. Unforgivable. My family was furious when they heard what had happened. They sprang into action right away. A formal letter was sent to my former company, signed by both the president, who is my father, and the executive director, who is my brother. We had more than enough evidence. Following my brother's advice, I had recorded all of Oliver's verbal abuse. This is terrible, but with this much evidence, it's more than enough. When we played the recordings and consulted with the company's legal counsel, he said we had grounds to file a defamation lawsuit. After discussing the situation with the lawyer, we proceeded to prepare a certified letter notifying the company of the termination of their contract, and sent it promptly. Let's see what kind of face Oliver makes when he gets this. Soon after the letter arrived, the president of my former company, Mr. Stewart, and Oliver came to apologize in person. We are truly sorry for everything. Mr. Stewart bowed deeply in sincere apology. Meanwhile, Oliver kept darting his eyes between the president and me, as if he still didn't fully understand what was happening. Though when he looked at me, it was more of a glare than anything else. Ignoring Oliver, our lawyer began to calmly explain the situation. It's all a setup. He planned this. Oliver suddenly shouted in anger. My father and brother scowled at his outburst. Useless middle school graduate, always scheming, he growled, glaring at me. Beside me, my brother frowned in confusion. Middle school graduate. Ryan? What are you talking about? What? Ryan may have only completed middle school in Japan, but after that, he went to high school in the US, and he graduated from the University of California, Berkeley. That's not an education you have any right to mock. With a cool tone, my brother corrected him. Oliver stood frozen in shock at the revelation. I didn't know that. After a brief pause, Oliver muttered in a daze. I find it distasteful to flaunt academic credentials. I responded calmly to his muttering. Oliver seemed to realize those words were directed at him, and his face turned red. It wasn't out of embarrassment, but clearly out of anger. How typical. A spoiled little rich boy like you talks big, but can't take instruction. No wonder you never listened to me. Now absolutely livid, Oliver began mocking me again. Instruction? This is what you call instruction? I played back the recording of his abusive words. The vile language that poured out of the speaker filled the room, and both my father and brother glared at Oliver with unmistakable fury. Their glares were cold enough to send shivers down anyone's spine. Don't you think this goes a bit far to be considered instruction? My father asked in a chilling voice. Mr. Stewart, clearly hearing the extent of Oliver's abuse for the first time, looked at him as if he couldn't believe what he was seeing. That is, with all eyes fixed on him, Oliver's face turned pale as a sheet. He clearly hadn't expected that his outbursts had been recorded. Enough excuses. Apologize. I am deeply sorry. Mr. Stewart grabbed the back of Oliver's head and forced him to bow. Oliver didn't resist and kept his head down. Another employee has suffered this kind of abuse too. Please investigate thoroughly and make sure no one else has to go through what I did. I made that clear to Mr. Stewart. By another employee, of course, I meant Michelle. If you promise to take appropriate action, we're willing to keep the contract as is. But if I hear that even one employee is subjected to unfair treatment again, we will immediately terminate our agreement. My father made that point firmly to Mr. Stewart. Compliance is the top priority in business. Partnering with a company known for a toxic work environment damages our image as well. Let's both work to maintain a healthy and beneficial business relationship. My father's voice was cold. He was still clearly angry, and his eyes remained fixed on Oliver, who was still bowed in silence. We'll conduct a full investigation. I give you my word. Mr. Stewart accepted my father's words and gave a firm, clear response. Realizing how badly the situation had turned against him, Oliver finally lifted his head, only to collapse to the floor in shock. Well then, we'll be taking our leave. Mr. Stewart pulled Oliver to his feet and practically dragged him out of the room. That's the end of Oliver. Though honestly, I have no intention of letting him off the hook that easily after what he did to Ryan. Go easy on him, will you, David? My brother gave a terrifyingly calm smile, and in my heart, I offered a silent prayer for Oliver. Are you really going to stay and work with us? Yeah, that's the plan. Honestly, even without Oliver, I don't feel like going back to that company. And so I officially chose not to return to my previous workplace and decided to continue working for my father's company. I had always planned to join the family business eventually. This just happened a little sooner than expected. Welcome. I hope you enjoy your time with us. Working at the travel agency had been fun, but the resort hotel business brought guests from all over the world. Being able to interact with people from so many places and help them enjoy their travels was incredibly rewarding. How's the new job going? Oh, hey Emily. It's actually really fun. I'm glad. You always said working at the travel agency was your calling, so I was a bit worried. Thanks. But honestly, seeing how happy people are when we welcome them and hearing them talk about what they enjoyed, it brings back those childhood memories. I find myself planning imaginary trips in my head all over again. Really? You'll have to tell me about them next time. Definitely. Just like that, I found myself enjoying my new workplace. Sometime later, I received a handwritten letter from Michelle, my former coworker. She wrote that, thanks to my case, the company's upper management had launched a full-scale investigation. Many anonymous complaints had come in, condemning Oliver's behavior, and his misconduct was finally exposed. He was demoted, stripped of all client-facing duties, and reassigned to a meaningless position. The company held a large-scale compliance seminar and committed to preventing similar incidents in the future. Even the coworkers who once stayed silent came forward and apologized, and now the work environment had improved significantly. Along with these updates, Michelle wrote honestly that she missed having me around. Michelle really is straightforward. Honestly, I miss her too. She had written that I was the only one who stood up for her. But I felt the opposite was true. She was the only one who stood up for me. Ryan, you did nothing wrong. I simply did what I believed was right. Her strong will and sincere eyes left a lasting impression on me. As I thought back on it all, I began to realize how much I wanted to see her. We had been coworkers, but never interacted privately, so I didn't even have her contact information. All I had was the company's contact. Then I should just go see her in person. That thought pushed me to action. After work, I headed straight to my old company. When I arrived, Michelle happened to be just stepping outside. That couple, it's them. She was seeing off the same elderly couple from before. The man who had stormed out in anger that day now wore a warm smile, holding a travel brochure in his hands. We're really looking forward to the trip. Yes, I'm glad we trusted her, especially since that unpleasant man is no longer here. Overhearing their conversation as I passed by brought a smile to my face. Michelle kept bowing until the elderly couple was completely out of sight. Michelle. Ryan? When I called out to her, she looked up in surprise, eyes wide. It's been a while. But then, her expression quickly softened into a smile. Drawn to that smile, I knew right then that the first thing I wanted to do was exchange contact information with her. We did, and after a few messages back and forth, we decided to have dinner together. Honestly, I still can't bring myself to forgive the coworkers who didn't help us. Michelle shared her honest feelings with me during our dinner together. But now, more than that, I just want to prove myself and rise through the ranks to show them what I'm really capable of. Haha, is that so? I think that's a great attitude. Thanks. And you know, I realize that I really do love this job. I'm not going to quit no matter what. She's truly strong. Seeing Michelle face forward so confidently filled me with admiration. So, Ryan, what are you doing now? I'm working at the hotel my family owns. Wait, your family's hotel? It was the first time I'd shared everything about myself with Michelle. She was surprised at first, but soon accepted it with a warm smile. I see. That's amazing. Actually, this feels like fate. Fate? The hotel your family runs. That's the one that inspired me to join the travel industry in the first place. Michelle told me she had stayed at our hotel when she was little. She went with her parents, had a wonderful time sightseeing, and was treated with warm hospitality. It left a lasting impression. That experience made her think, I want others to enjoy themselves like this too. I want to be able to recommend something this special. Eventually, she decided she wanted people to enjoy trips she had planned herself, and that led her to join the travel agency. Wow, I used to do something similar as a kid too. Hearing her story reminded me of the imaginary trips I used to plan as a kid, so I shared that with her. It turned out Michelle used to do the same. and we quickly bonded over our shared hobby. Hey, Michelle. Yes? I've liked you since we were working together. If it's okay with you, would you go out with me? Her cheeks flushed bright red at my confession, and even that expression of hers felt so precious to me. I've liked you too. Ever since you stood up for me and left the company, I've had feelings for you. So yes, I'd love to. And just like that, we started dating. We spent our days off visiting each other's favorite places, building countless memories together. When I told my family that I had someone special in my life, they immediately asked to meet her, so I introduced Michelle to them. So you're Michelle. I've heard a lot about you from Ryan. He's David, my older brother. You're the one who took action and helped Ryan, right? Thanks to you, I was able to get through it all. I truly appreciate it. David took an immediate liking to her and started treating her like part of the family. My sister Emily also got along well with her. Apparently, they shared a similar fashion sense, and I often found them chatting happily together. I was really glad Michelle and my family got along so well. Meanwhile, things had taken a dark turn for Oliver. The stress of being demoted to a dead-end role was something he began taking out on his family until his wife filed for divorce. They had a young child in elementary school, but she got full custody. On top of that, he apparently had an affair as a way to cope with stress, which led to hefty alimony and child support payments to his ex-wife, and eventually, he fell into debt. Worse yet, he borrowed money from dangerous sources. The collectors even started showing up at his workplace, and in the end, Oliver was fired. After being taken away by men in black suits, no one has seen Oliver since. Serves him right. With all that education, the least he could have done was work properly, my brother muttered. I didn't say anything, but I'll admit his calm tone was kind of terrifying. Meanwhile, Michelle's hard work had been recognized, and she steadily rose through the ranks. Now, she's a department manager. I've also taken on more responsibilities myself, and while we're both busy, every day feels meaningful and fulfilling. Michelle, I wanted to talk to you about something. Oh, what is it? I've been thinking of organizing a family trip as a way to thank them for everything they've done for me. My family has helped me and supported me in countless ways. Planning this trip was my way of giving something back. That's a wonderful idea. Actually, let me help you with the planning. I was hoping you'd say that. I'd love to come up with a plan together. Of course. Let's make it a trip they'll never forget. The trip we planned ended up being a huge hit with my family. My brother and sister showered us with compliments, and both of us got a little embarrassed. It's one of those fun memories we still talk about. You really do have a wonderful family. I know, right? I'm proud of them. Since then, I've been traveling between the different hotels my father owns, learning more about how they're run. It's a whole different world from what I've done before, but I'm learning a lot, and it's been an incredible experience. Apparently, my brother is set to take over the business someday. Even so, I'm studying hard now with the hope of becoming someone he can rely on. I'd be really happy if you became my right-hand man one day, Ryan. I'll do my best to make that happen. He's the kind of brother who actually watches my work and evaluates me fairly. That's why I want to live up to his expectations and give it my all. My sister, on the other hand, is getting married and currently planning her wedding. It's an arranged marriage our parents helped set up, but the two are clearly thoughtful and caring with each other. It's obvious they're a great match. Your sister asked me to plan her honeymoon. Just watch, I'm going to create the perfect itinerary. Michelle was thrilled to help and threw herself into it with full energy. Our parents are still as close as ever. Once David takes over, we're planning to go on a round-the-world trip together. Remember those travel plans you used to dream up, Ryan? We're going to use them for inspiration. Hearing them say that made me a little shy. But at the same time, I was touched that they still remembered something I dreamed about so long ago. I realized just how lucky I am to have the family I do. Having a close-knit family is truly a blessing. My parents and siblings always cared for me deeply. Even though we were well off, they never spoiled me. They praised me when it was deserved and scolded me when it was needed. They listened to me, remembered the things I said, even years later. And now, I want to be the one to support them in return. What should I do? Is something troubling you? Well, actually, I want to become someone who can reach out and help when someone's in need. Just like my family helped me, and just like Michelle did, even when she was the only one who stood up for me. Ryan, what do you think of this plan? I think my sister and her husband will love it. Great. I can't wait for their wedding. Me too. Let's take notes. We'll use it as inspiration for our own wedding. Michelle and I are still together, and now she's my fiance. I truly want to build a happy home with her. A few years later, we got married, and a precious new life was born into our world. Just like how I was raised, our hope is to create a warm and loving home, one that's firm but never overly indulgent. By that time, I had taken on the role of executive vice president, working closely alongside my brother, who had become company president. Never forgetting the promise I made to myself, I continue to give my all to my work every single day.